This One's Wife, The Great Reconciliation. We're going down under. G'day. It's skynews.com.au, and Riley Sullivan tells us a breakthrough in their relationship, why this one's wife could reconcile with estranged father Thomas Markle. Thomas Markle, at one time, was the non-intimate partner primary source in the fuel matrix of this one's wife. He was the easiest individual for her to control, who she would get the most fuel from, that he provided many character traits and, of course, residual benefits. For instance, paying for her tuition, putting a roof over her head, ensuring that she then had opportunities within the acting industry. As time went on, he became pushed to one side as she sought out intimate partner primary sources, as she began intimate relationships with people, and thus her father reverted to the status of non-intimate secondary source. He still had a role to play within the fuel matrix, but it wasn't as important as it once was. Then, as a combination of the potential threats to control that he posed by basically not fitting with the image that she wanted, and the fact that she no longer really had any use for him because she'd moved on to a different stratum, she decided, governed by her narcissism, that he would be disengaged from. Many people saw this as completely heartless, and it is. But it is not governed by the fact of deciding just to be nasty. It's governed by her narcissism evaluating that he essentially was not providing sufficient value for continued inclusion in the fuel matrix, and that what was being extracted from him was subject to a particular cost in terms of threats to control that made it really not worth keeping him around. You would think to yourself, what a heartless and callous approach for dealing with your father. But remember, her narcissism does not see him as her father, simply sees him as an appliance that is there to be exploited. There is no sense of obligation towards him, no sense of familial bond. That doesn't exist. The narcissist is simply driven by the pursuit of the prime aims. How easy are you to control? How good is your fuel? How plentiful is it? What character traits and residual benefits do you bring to the party? Do you bring lots of fuel and character traits and residual benefits? Well, if so, we'll make more of an effort to control you. If those are waning or not very good, we're not particularly interested in you, but might keep you around because you're so easy to control. You might be codependent, extremely needy. Or, if you're difficult to control and you don't provide any particular benefits, there's no point in bothering with you. Thus, we'll shelf you, possibly even disengage from you. And it doesn't matter if you're a mother or a father, a brother or a sister, a long-term friend, a long-standing colleague, or all of that counts for nothing. Familial ties mean nothing. The length of a friendship is irrelevant. All that matters is the prime aims. The suggestion here, however, is that reconciliation might take place. Of course, there is always a possibility that she would do that, but why? Well, it would probably be the case that he would be very easy to control and would be willing to reconcile, because his own narcissism wants that to happen. Furthermore, it would be hugely advantageous for her with regard to facade management and bringing lots of attention to her in terms of, look, I've reconciled with my father. I've given him a second chance, notwithstanding the abhorrent way that he's behaved to me, playing the victim, pity play, that she swoops in as if she is the great redeemer, that she has allowed the great reconciliation to take place, and thus that would garner worldwide attention. She's not doing it because she genuinely wants to have a relationship with him. Once again, if, and it is a big if, this were to happen, it would be done for her own self-serving purposes once again. But Sky News in Australia offers the view that there might be a reconciliation. Why are they thinking in such terms? The article states this one's wife might be edging closer to ending her estrangement from her elderly father, Thomas Markle, 5 years after cutting off communications with the 79-year-old. The Duchess of Sussex iced out her father, disengagement, a retired lighting director, after he was allegedly caught selling staged paparazzi photos ahead of her globally televised wedding. The then Prince Charles walked her down the aisle instead. Mr. Markle has since blasted his world-famous daughter, assertion of control, in a long line of press interviews, pity plays, indirect assertion of control, and recently revealed he's never met his grandchildren, pity play, Prince Archie IV and Princess Lilibet II. Relationship expert Luella Alderson told the Mirror newspaper the father and daughter still have unresolved issues, but that the senior Markle's betrayals may make a reconciliation difficult. Thomas Markle has spoken out about his estranged daughter on multiple occasions since the start of her relationship with Prince Harry, and he continues to do so, even after being cut off from communication with this one's wife, she told the newspaper on Tuesday. As I have explained to you, which evidently this relationship expert doesn't understand, he continues to talk about her because when she comes up on his radar, his narcissism needs him to get control over her. He is denied the opportunity of doing so directly, he has no means of talking to her or going to see her, and therefore he has to assert control indirectly by issuing pity plays through interviews in the press. This expert continues, "This shows that there are still unresolved issues between them, and it's unlikely they will be able to mend their relationship anytime soon if Thomas Markle keeps sharing private information." Well, she's correct about that because that will continue to be a threat to control, and therefore this one's wife will keep in a position of being disengaged by basically deciding this just emphasizes why I shouldn't have anything to do with him. The expert continues by explaining their relationship could very well be beyond repair at this point, as there have been multiple instances of betrayal and hurt between them. Actually, it's not beyond repair, because if this one's wife's narcissism deems that it would be appropriate for them to reconcile, again, in accordance with the prime aims, it will happen. You could have the almightiest of blow-ups with a narcissist, but years later the narcissist can reappear. Many people make the mistake of believing that they have horrendously wounded a narcissist, and often it's actually just challenge fuel, but that even if they did cause substantial wounding to the narcissist, that would mean that the narcissist would stay away from them forever. The answer to that is no. There may even be circumstances that would drive a narcissist to hoover you, even where you've caused substantial wounding to that narcissist. In effect, the factors driving a hoover outweigh those that say no hoover should take place. Alternatively, the passage of time causes the wounding to effectively heal and become forgotten about, and therefore the narcissist may well circle back round at a future date. The only thing that will prevent a narcissist from hoovering would in effect being a solid no-contact regime, so that the attempt doesn't get through. Substantial wounding of itself is not enough to keep a narcissist away forever, despite many people thinking that it would do. However, the relationship expert suggested their relationship could finally repair itself now that this one's wife herself has participated in commercial deals, sharing secrets about the royal family. Harry and this one's wife appear to be doing to the royal family what Thomas Markle has been doing to them, speaking out to the media and sharing private information and personal conversations, she said. Well, indeed, that's the hypocrisy of this one's wife. If this one's wife took some time to self-reflect and consider how her actions might be perceived as similar to her father's, it could potentially lead to a breakthrough in their relationship. Well, there is encapsulated the fact that this supposed relationship expert doesn't recognize a narcissist and doesn't understand narcissism. Narcissists don't self-reflect. She does not consider how her actions might be perceived as similar to her father's because her narcissism will always distinguish. This is why narcissists are hypocrites, because the behavior that they engage in is similar to that of somebody else, but they don't see it, because the narcissism won't let them see it. She will never ever sit down and think, do you know what? I behaved in a similar way to my father, haven't I? Accordingly, I'm now going to forgive him and reconcile. She cannot genuinely see that, because her narcissism will always tell her that what he did was traitorous and treacherous, and that what she has done is nothing like that. Therefore, there can be no self-reflection, there can be no consideration of the similarity of the actions, and therefore the suggested breakthrough from this relationship expert is simply wrong. Since ending her relationship with her father over the privacy invasion, the 42-year-old Duchess and her husband have participated in a tell-all interview with Oprah Winfrey, a Netflix docuseries, and secretly contributed to controversial royal books. In addition to Thomas Sr., this one's wife has also cut ties with her half-siblings Samantha and Thomas Jr., with neither her brother and sister or her father making the cut for the 2018 royal wedding. A possible reconciliation with her father comes as Mr. Markle recovers from a recent stroke caused by a blood clot on the right side of his brain, which has notably impaired his ability to speak. Once again, a demonstration of how somebody comments on a relationship who doesn't understand the dynamic that exists, and reinforces the importance of my work in enabling you to understand why people behave as they do, and why an individual who is a narcissist, such as this one's wife, functions as she does. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.